This is the third part of the introduction to shell. Previously we've looked at the ls command, and by default you will notice when you log in that it's actually very bland and it looks like this with white text. And in my previous example it was actually quite colourful. And that's because all Unix commands generally have the ability to modify their behaviour using what are known as command line options. And in the case of ls on my system, I use a command line option called --color, spelt the American way. And you'll notice immediately that these now appear in blue, which actually signify that they're directories. In the shell, we use color coding to tell us different things about different files. And command line options are an incredibly useful thing. So for example, at the moment I'm listing the base contents of my directory. I can also list them in a different format by using the -l or long flag. Now you can see that I'm getting a list of the files, who they belong to, the group I belong to, the size of the file, the date they were created and the time they were created, as well as these flags on the left here, which I'll explain in another video, which are basically the access permissions to the file. We can also, in fact I'll clear the screen first, a very useful shell shortcut is Ctrl-L, which will clear the screen for you and start at the top again. There is a flag called -L, A for all and L for long. You'll see now that actually my directory contains quite a lot of other files which are effectively hidden. And all of these files that begin with a dot are hidden system files. And generally these are used to store configuration for our programs and other things, and we generally don't care too much about them. So they're just hidden away from general view, but they are there when and if we need them. And one of the most important ones, which we'll come back to in a little while, is this .bashrc file, which we're going to edit later to set some default behaviour for our shell. Now, to learn about all of these different options, Unix has a built-in manual, and the manual is called man. And to look up something, we use man followed by the name of the command that we're interested in. So for example, man ls will give us the manual page for the command ls. Now all manual pages are split into more or less the same format. We'll have the name of the command, we'll have a basic synopsis, and you can see in this case it's ls, some form of option, followed by the name of the file. And then we can see after that the names of all of the options. So -a that we've looked at. There are generally long flags as well, which work with --. And as we go through, we can see all of these different flags and we can read them. We use the up and down arrow keys to traverse through the manual page. We can search within the manual page by using the / and something we want to look for. So if I just say /file, it will take us to the first thing that provides with file. If we press next, it will go to the next one, the next one, the next one. And if we do P, it will go to the previous ones. And finally, the important one, to exit from the manual page, we use the key Q, which will quit back to the shell that we're in. Now obviously there's a lot to learn there, so if you need to learn about the manual, we use man man, and that will give us the manual page for the manual. The other useful thing is that the manual pages also have lots of other manuals for various other things. So for example, if we look up man, and we're going to look up in section 3 of the manual, because I know that section 3 of the manual is the C programming language, the function printf, which is a C programming function. And section 3 here is the Linux Programmer's Manual, and you can see here's all of the information for the command printf in C library. So this is all built into Linux itself, and we can use this when we need to look things up. and it's a very important thing. I'm a strong believer in RTFM. I think you should start reading the manual if you're unsure. It's the way I learn things, it's the way you should learn things.